Alright, g'day guys, welcome to our class this week. Today our new topic is going to be on sustainability, alright? So there's a few things we're going to get to do for this lesson, but for our first activity I'm just going to open up to the classroom and we're going to have a little 2-3 minute conversation with the person next to you and I'm going to get you to answer 2 of these questions, alright? So the first question is, what do you think your carbon footprint is? And the second question I'm going to get you to answer and have a discussion about is, what do you think contributes to your personal carbon footprint, alright? So we're going to have 2-3 minutes, talk to the person next to you, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about that as a whole class. Beautiful. So, away you go.
Okay.
I'm just going to float around as well and just have a listen in.
Okay. What are you thinking? Like, what do you think?
What's the question?
The carbon dioxide.
Carbon footprint. So the first question, what do you think it is? And second one, what are the things you think contribute to your personal carbon footprint?
I think carbon footprint impacts
Just have a discussion with the person next to you.
the environment.
Yeah.
What do you reckon over there?
And my impact on carbon footprint is driving to school.
Like
and
when you
back.
say carbon, it affects the footprint. Your footprint affects the environment. Like how?
Driving to school and back, probably.
Yeah, but how does that affect the environment?
The gas from the
pollution
car.
from the car.
Yeah, and then what does that do? Like,
What's the sun layer called?
ozone layer.
Ozone layer.
Alright, we're going to bring in, let's just pretend that's 2 or 3 minutes has been done. So, I'm just going to go around the classroom, give me 1 or 2 points of the sort of things you spoke about in your group. So, Cheryl?
We talked about how with the carbon footprint, our carbon, we talked individually about what our carbon footprint is, but then we elaborated about what it means when we give off our, I can't even say what I'm trying to say. Carbon emissions that we give off and what happens.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So our carbon footprint is how much CO2 we emit into our atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it's the sort of things we do in our everyday lives, whether that be the food we buy, the transport we drive, things like that. They're all things that contribute to our carbon emissions.
And we talked about how when we buy groceries, for example, if you get something that's not like farmed locally, what it takes to get that food to Woolworths or Coles, for example.
Yeah.
And the trucks and what the trucks give off and how far they travel. And
Absolutely. So it's not just looking at that surface layer sort of carbon emissions and what you do personally, but it's also looking at all the things that the produce you buy and the underlying things and the things that happen behind the scenes. So as you said, yeah, if you're buying a product from Coles or Woolies, it's about how much carbon dioxide it took to get that product into the shop. So that's coming from the farm, whether that be around the state or locally, that's fine. But then the harvesters that used to crop that product and then to transport that to the shops and all the processes and the plastic that uses to package it. So it's
I
looking
guess
at those
it's even
underlying
like the
things.
tractors.
100%. All these things are emitting carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. What do you think over there, Jessica?
You're a farm person. Doesn't your dad
Yeah.
have a farm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what his sort of carbon dioxide emissions would look like?
Lots.
Lots. Yeah, it depends on how big your farm is, I guess, as well. But these are all the sort of things we need to think about when we are talking about our carbon dioxide emissions. So awesome. All right, for our next activity, what we're going to do, I'm going to hand out a couple of pieces of paper and they're going to have little scenarios about individuals that we're going to look at today. So there might be some about local people, some living interstate. And they're going to give you a couple of characteristics about what their sort of lives look like, their shopping habits, their water habits. So we're looking at water usage there. What sort of foods they eat, whether they grow their foods, whether they go to the local market or happy to spend a lot of money on excess plastics and stuff in their packaging. So, and we're going to give them a scorecard. So I'm going to hand out those pieces of paper, I'm going to give you a scorecard and then we're going to have a mark. You're going to think about that in your little groups. We're going to mark our little characteristics and our little people there.
Are we
and
doing
we're going to come
a
back.
grade out of 10? Is that
The scorecard's got it. So you got a rating out of 5 for each little category.
Okay. Good.
And then we're going to come back, talk about our individual people as a class. So
And see if we think of the same.
yeah, and then later in the lesson, we're also going to talk about SMART goals. So we're going to come up with some SMART goals to help improve our carbon footprint for those individuals. And then we're going to talk about our own lives as well. We can get some SMART goals for there too.
Because we can all be better.
100%. There's so many ways to improve and there's little things we can do to implement into our lives. There's nothing major changes because nobody can change the world on their own. But there's little things we can do in our everyday lives to just help that a little bit extra.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
That was 4.5 minutes.